Hi, my name is Katie Helliwell. I am the psychic expert. I've got over 20 years experience working with spirit, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping content every single day to this channel. All you need to do is like and subscribe, and also just let me know if what I'm producing for you is actually what you really want to see, or if there's any other content that you've been thinking about and would like to know more insight on. There is nothing I can't explain and give you insight on, so it'll be a pleasure to hear from you. Also, please make sure you follow all my other channels as well, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Facebook business page. If you go into the description on this video, can't get my words out, if you go into the description, you will be able to see the links there to my Facebook group, Talk Spirit to Me. I'm live in there 3 times a week, and it'd be a pleasure to have you. Anyway, enough from me. Enjoy the trainings.
I'm going to go into today's training. This is, as always, like I always say in every live stream, absolute gold. So following on from yesterday, this is where we're going to actually remove the blocks for you and work through them. So we identified yesterday on the practice where your actual blocks are in your body, where it's stored. So this is like the spiritual blocks that are actually causing some kind of symptom, a physical symptom in your human body. And we identified where that is. Now, why is that important? The reason it's important is because wherever you are blocked in your body, it stops the flow of connection from spirit coming through. So we need to make sure that we are open as much as possible and cleanse as much as possible to allow the messages to come through in the purest of forms. Otherwise, what can happen with the messages is we can have like pixelation. So it can almost be like a slight word or a letter, or it can just feel a little bit discombobulated, or it could be like a key code that you don't really understand, or a symbol that you see, and it can just get really annoying. So the more cleansed you are, and the more that we have that space nice and healed and worked through, and the more your human body is cleansed and operating at a higher level, the easier it is for the messages to come through. Now guys, this is something that you will continually do for the rest of your life, which is healing. Healing is something that once we've gone through, we're like onions. Once we've gone through one layer, there's more, there's more, there's more. And you just keep thinking, how much more is this? How much more? How many layers did I have? But it's a gradual thing. Your body will only let you release at times what is actually able to be let go of now, what you're vibrationally ready to let go of. So we can identify the blocks, which is what we did yesterday, and we can identify where in your body it's actually stored. But then to actually understand and reframe and look into this and let it go, this is the thing that will take a little bit of time. And it takes a little bit of space for you to be honest with yourself about maybe what's gone on within you, what's happened around you, what you might need to let go of that you thought maybe you ticked off and had healed and moved past, but then really you're still carrying the war wounds and the scars. And sorry about my voice then, but which is okay. It's okay to carry war wounds and scars and to carry things around with us. But equally, you've got to understand that if it blocks you in some way and holds back on your spiritual connection, it's not the thing for you to, it's not good for you, is it? We need to let it go. And the reason for that is because our body feels for some reason that that scar, that lesson taught us something really valid. So we hold it into our bodies so that it keeps us safe, because your human body is always wanting to just keep you safe. So it's like, oh, please don't do that. Do you remember you watched this thing where that bad thing happened when that person did that, so you shouldn't do that. And you've absorbed it because your body's always keeping you in safetyville, which is fantastic. You know, thank our bodies for that. And we learn to live comfortably at times, or we believe, or our mind tricks us that we're feeling comfortable living with this kind of fear, where as actual fact, it's not serving us at all, and it's not keeping us safe. Like, for example, in the world of business, I meet so many female entrepreneurs, because I do a lot of that work as well with them, who are wanting to go off and do this, that and the other and expand and grow, but they're scared of failing. And the fear of failing makes them just stop. And the reason for that fear can be a multitude of things, but they could have actual physical evidence and proof presented to them or shown to them at some point in their lives, or maybe they've done things themselves and it's not quite worked out how they want it to. They take that as physical evidence that this isn't going to work for me. This is not going to work for me, so I'm not doing it. And they actually convince themselves, even though what they want to do is this, but then they convince themselves it's not going to work. It happens in relationships. I see people who've gone through difficult relationships and then they meet someone that's like, oh, I really like the way they're making me feel, but they won't lead with it because they've got proof that this doesn't always work out for them. So it's probably best they just don't bother, because I don't think I could deal with more disappointment. Also with money, people know what they want to do. They know that sometimes they need to invest in something in order to grow or to do whatever it is that they want to do or experience or learn or what have you. But then they're scared to, because if I invest that money and what if an unexpected bill comes and then I can't pay it? That's happened to me before and I didn't feel safe. So I best not spend it, even though it's what I want and I know I need to grow and I know that it'll be the best thing for me. I best just keep hold of it just in case. And it's like, well, that's a block, that's a fear, and that's holding you back. And is that serving you? Well, it's making you feel like you've got a cushion there, but isn't it more worth you actually spending that money to serve yourself and grow and accumulate more? But what if I don't? Can you see how all of this accumulates? So your body and your mind is there to keep you safe. Like with spiritual connection, if I go too deep with this gift, will I attract a darker spirit? If I go too deep with this gift, will I feel that I can't love my family the same way because I'll see things for them and then I'll be so fearful? If I go too deep in connection, will I go all weird and woo-woo and not be able to function like a normal being? Will I feel always overwhelmed in crowds? Will I always feel like maybe I can't drink anymore, or maybe I can't socialise the way I did? Maybe I'll just feel like everyone's hurt, and if I open up all my empathetic skills, will I be overwhelmed by everyone's pain? You know, so you just don't. I'll just stick with what I know so I can live my life and nothing changes around me. My friends are still there, my family is still there, everything's still there. Is this sounding familiar? Let me know. So this is how and why we store the blocks. So thank your body, number one. Thank your body for allowing you to store these vibrations, because it's trying to do its job and it's doing it well. We've all got blocks, but your body doesn't need to do that. It's doing it to keep you safe. But what we're saying here is, okay, let's understand where the block is, which we identified yesterday. So if you didn't do yesterday's training, please jump off this live stream. This will make no sense. And head to yesterday's and do that one before you do this one. So we identified where in the body it is, where in the body you're actually blocked. Now what we need to understand is what is attached to that area so that we can cleanse it and move it forward. So I'm going to take you through a few things here, because this is juicy stuff and we've got a lot to go through, okay? So are you all ready? Give me some love hearts, let me know you're all still awake, and we'll get going. So we need to identify what's caused the stored emotion within you. So who had any blocks around the head? Who actually felt the blocks around the head? My voice is so husky. Sounds very familiar, yeah? That's all right, guys. Don't worry if you're a bit late. Hi, everyone. So Helen, yeah, I think you did, Helen. You had the blocks around the head. I'm sure you did. Who had any blocks around the head? Okay, if you did, right, let's listen. So this can, I've got some notes here, by the way. This can link in that you are an overthinker, that you've been thinking about the pros and cons to everything. So it's like, well, if I do this, then that will lead to that. And if I do that, and then that might go over there. So you kind of try and excuse me. Hang on one sec. You tend to try and micromanage your life and try and micromanage what comes through. So who's actually experienced that? Yeah. So you might have this feeling of, I've got to manage everything. I've got to be in charge. I've got to make sure I do this. Must keep it all up in my head. Must be here. Must make sure that it's all stored there and I think of every eventuality and I'm prepared. And the reason you could have this is because when you've not overthought something, or when you've not been planned ahead, or when you've not been on the ball, so to speak, on the ball, then something's happened and it's caused you to spiral, or it's caused you some discomfort of some kind. So can you think about that? Have just a moment now to think about that with you. where you actually felt that maybe because you weren't prepared or because you weren't planning, or if you just thought this through a little bit more, then you might have actually ended up with not having to plan everything. Yeah, so Elaine says that's me. Yeah, so it could easily be this. So you've got to think about, like, is there been a partner that you've had and then all of a sudden the red flags were all there, but you didn't action something they said, or you didn't do something, then it turned out to be like, oh, I wish I'd just like paid attention to that in my head, and if I'd only just, you know, done this over here, then that wouldn't have happened. And it's like, oh, so we always have to be prepared. So I want you to think about, and this is where you're going to have to take some time off this training, watch this back possibly, and have a look through it. But make a note of all the times in your head where you felt that I wish I'd actually been prepared, or I should have seen this coming, or I should have known. And now, because of that moment, you always have to be prepared. It could be something like you feel unsafe when you're around a certain type of spiritual activity. Maybe it's like you were always told Ouija boards are bad, or you're always told to move away from tarot, or to never go to a psychic or a medium or a spiritualist, and spiritualism was dark. So then you're always having to kind of be prepared that if I do anything spiritual, I must make sure I've got this on me, or I must make sure I do this ritual, and I must make sure that I don't absorb too much, I only just tap into it just slightly, and then I don't participate fully in it. Like, what level of this is you? So think about it. So that's the head. So if you had the head block, if you didn't watch yesterday's, this will not make much sense to you. So you need to identify where the block is in you, and you'll do that from watching yesterday's training. Okay. So from here, we need to think about if you got anything in your stomach area. Now, your stomach, your back, and parts of your heart are all linked to emotional well-being. So did anyone get stomach, back, or heart? Anyone get that? So stomach, back, or heart. Did anyone get that? So if you've had that, I think lots of you did, yeah. Yeah, the sacral. Sacral one's really popular. Okay, so if that's the case for you, this is linked here. Now you've got to start thinking about, where was it that people doubted you? Where was it that people doubted you? Where was it that people felt that they had to keep you safe? So almost kept you like a little child. Or maybe you were a little child, but you were the baby of the group, or baby of the family, and people felt they had to protect you all the time and had to look after you like you were precious cargo, like you couldn't really think for yourselves, or you were almost like stupid, so you couldn't do things for yourself. Who actually had low expectations of you? So who are the people around you that had low expectations? Maybe one of them was you. Maybe you had low expectations of yourself. But think of all the moments where people doubted you. People looked as if you needed support all the time, like you were a child, even though you were grown up. Maybe it's like you were treated as the baby of the family and never given the opportunities to actually understand what was happening and have some respect of being heard or listened to or answered to. And maybe you or a teacher or a friend or family member or someone had low expectations of you and they were just put upon you. Maybe you were told these things. Who picked on you? Maybe you were put down in your friendships, your family, your relationships, whatever it might be. Maybe you were put down, not always in a horrible way, maybe in a jokey way or juvenile way or in some way, but it happened. Or have you suffered any kind of trauma? And I mean abuse, emotional abuse, all the abuses. Have you had some kind of emotional trauma? Maybe you lost someone so dear to you so young and you witnessed it. Maybe, you know, something horrific has happened to you and it's a heavy load of trauma. That will all be stored in those areas. Yeah, I was bullied for a long time at school by friends and teachers. Yes, Helen. Yeah. So there we go. So was yours also the stomach as well? So back, stomach and parts of the heart are linked to this. If you've had any of those coming up, that will be linked to that. And your mum died 4 months ago. I'm so sorry for your loss, darling. That makes sense though. Stomach and heart, yeah. So I had this, my teachers doubted me. They said I would probably never amount to anything because I wasn't very academic. I mean, I did all right at school, but I wasn't exactly interested. Like, she used to stare out the window talking to Spirit all day. Yeah, just, I wasn't really engaged. And they were like, she's a lovely young lady. She's so smiley and so polite. She'll never really get far in life. And all my family members, you know, bless them, they meant well. They always told me to marry somebody rich because I would never be able to hold down a normal job and become a normal person in society. They were right about that. I can't hold down a normal job. It's not who I am. I'm an entrepreneur. But to marry someone rich and you just need to sit and look pretty in the corner. I was like, okay. So all of these things get told. And because I was quite a sickly child, I had asthma for many years and I was in and out of the children's hospital. I spent months in there on drips and lung rehabilitation and all that sort of really awful. I did all like maths. No wonder I couldn't pass anything at school. I did maths in the hospital whilst on drips. So, and I remember being in there and everyone treating me like I was precious cargo when I come out and like, let's just check she's okay. And don't you lift anything because of your asthma. Don't run too far because of your asthma. And again, it was like well loved and well meaning, but cocooned in a glass box. So all mine was stored in the sacral and I didn't think I could do anything. I had no confidence that I could run a business. Good God, that was not me at all. And yet look, I've grown it to multiple six figures, global. I train people over the world and give so much love and training and support and activated and move people out of their jobs into spirituality where they really want to be and have their businesses soaring and had their gifts explained so they can actually sleep at night and they don't feel crazy anymore. And they've gone on to read for people and they're reading and the people they're reading for just giving so much love and everyone feels nurtured. And yeah, I've done all that. So the precious cargo was very capable and very strong. So remember, whatever you've been through here, it makes you stronger. So even if it is stored vibration, it's making you who you are now. You should be very proud of you. You should be very proud of yourself, okay? Because you're spending your time here looking at this and wanting to grow and expand even more. Do you know how few people do that? And you're one of the exceptions. So be proud of you. After my little motivational speech there, let's move on. I always got off my teachers, you're not like your sister Linda. Yeah, comparison. Yeah, my brother's really clever. Yeah, he's like really clever. And then there's me, who's not academically clever at all. But they're like, you got the looks, your brother got the books. I'm like, I don't think my brother would agree with that. And I don't think I agree with that either. So there you go. Jane's saying she was married to a narcissist. Oh, Jane. What else can I say? That it was not the person for you. Debbie's saying trauma, DV, SA. Oh, Debbie, this is your time now. Your time to rise. Jan said I was bullied at school and I lost my dad and my nephew in tragic circumstances within 10 months of each other. Oh, got goosebumps. Oh, Elaine lost a baby at 16 months. Oh my gosh, guys. So all of this, it's like, how can life be so precious and so fun, but then also so bittersweet? Baffles me, that does. I still don't have the actual spiritual answer of that. Like, how can it be like that? And how, even in those moments where severe pain for all of you, like Spirit always say this thing and it really winds me up at times, and I'm sure it'll wind you up many a time now and in the future. But when things are happening to you that aren't really necessarily, well, aren't good, aren't what you want, that you're still going in the right direction. Like, how is that even possible? How is like that going to serve you and help you? I still can't work it out at times. I really can't. But somehow it does make sense further on down the line. Like without, you know, for example, when I left college early. And I left college and then had this sudden urge to go and get a job. I didn't have that ever before. When I worked in an office and when I got a job, and then I met Mr. H. And I always say, if I hadn't gone and got that job, I would never have met Mr. H. So none of it made any sense. It wasn't necessarily bad, it was just a change. But it's like, well, you know, everyone's going, oh, you're just quitting, you're going to be classed as a failure, you're never going to have this. I was going, but it just feels right. It just feels like I should do this. And I met him. And yeah, the rest is history. So if I can't imagine not having him. Like, I wouldn't be able to necessarily, well, I probably would, but he enhances a partner who's a good partner, enhances every aspect of your life and who you are. And he definitely brings out the best in me to allow me to be here for you guys and have this confidence and assurance to do this. And this is the thing, like, we're always being led, and some things, like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but some things are truly horrific, and they just put us back on how we always being guided in the horrificness. Can you get what I'm trying to say? But we are. And yeah, it just baffles me. It really does. Sometimes I have a bittersweet relationship with that. And then at times then it makes sense for the person much further on. And I'm like, wow. So there we go. Sorry, I'm going off topic here. Okay, so whoever had that, I want you to think about all the things that you've written down here, all the things that are coming through now. So your heart, your stomach and your back, anything that was highlighted yesterday from those areas, that's the area that's linked to those things I was telling you about. So make a list of what they are and just keep the list for now. Let's move on to the heart. So if you had your heart being highlighted, then this is about very much about what people have put upon you and stressed on you. So all of those emotions that we just talked about. But then also, when the heart is blocked, it's when we're not necessarily putting ourselves first, and we're not having enough appreciation for who we are. We're not loving ourselves enough. And I don't mean necessarily lying in the bubble bath and buying yourself lovely things, but I mean the actual love, like actually looking at yourself and going, you know what? I love what you're doing today. I love your message. I love how and you talking to you, by the way, I love how you are not stopping and just settling for things. You're actually going for what you really want. I love how, despite the fact you're still confused, you're still searching to understand this spiritual gift within me. I'm so proud of myself for that. Like, there's none of that love that's going and pouring into you. You know, your body can survive so much and you've been through so much, yet you guys are here and you're stronger, and you, like you said, it makes you stronger, it makes you more empathetic. Like, all of that, I'm so grateful that I've got those skills within me. I'm so grateful that I can give that to other people. I'm really proud of me for understanding and taking some good out of some awful situations I've been through. I'm so proud of me. That's not what people are doing. Instead, people who have got the block around the heart are just sabotaging themselves. I'm not enough. I haven't done this yet. I'm lost enough weight. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not knowledgeable enough. I don't have the confidence to do that. I can't do this because I haven't got this, this and this. And no one would ever listen to me, and my message isn't strong enough. And that's all the things. All of that gets stored in your heart. So we want to be able to release that and let that go. And you need to make a note of what it is that you're telling yourself all the time. What is it you're getting grumpy about you? And look at why you're getting like that, why you're getting grumpy. Now, if your throat or your voice at all felt blocked, so when we did the practice, if that was highlighted, let me know in the comments if anyone had throat or voice highlighted. This is where you've got to remember, you might have been told as a child to calm it down. We don't speak like that here. We don't express just what we want to say because that might be rude, or there's a time and a place to speak about that and this is not here, or just be quiet, you don't know enough about the subject to comment on it. So these are all the times when we've been told to shush and listen, or we don't know enough, or are you really sure about what you've just said? And they plant the seed of self-doubt. So these are the things where we're maybe absorbing on social media or the news and things, people who are talking about the subject we want to talk about, but they've got maybe a degree, or they've been validated some way, or people are agreeing with them, or people are wanting to collaborate with them, or people are flocking towards them. So it must only be them that know what they're talking about, only them. So then we think our voice is too small and our voice wouldn't matter. And we will then, shh, you don't know enough on this. Just be quiet. Just, let the expert speak. Let somebody else who knows more on it speak. But the thing is, your voice matters. Your opinion matters. And if you're going to be a channeler, which is somebody where you can have spirit speak through you, don't be too scared, it's very lovely, it's very nice, then you need to be able to be confident in that you can allow that to come through, and the freedom of speech that will come through you. You've got to be confident with that. So if you've had anything with your throat, like when we were doing the practice, if it was highlighted, itchy, tickly, anything like that, it's a sign that we need to start speaking your truth, because your opinion matters. You will know something on a subject like spirituality, like meditation, like any kind of subject, that will really make a difference. There'll be something about the way you say it, or the way that you explain it, or the way that you give a metaphor, or the way you, I don't know, just talk about it in general, that will land for someone. There's people out there that are your people. I'm not saying you necessarily have to be like some big business tycoon or podcaster or something like that to get your voice out there. I mean, like in a group of friends, there'll be a way that you say something that'll make somebody else go, oh, that makes sense. And then someone can be like, I've just said that, but you didn't agree with me. You're like, yeah, but the way she said it, or he said it, or they, is just so much clearer. So I got it there, I felt it. And it's like, oh, okay. And that's because that person's voice and that person's message touched you. It was said in a way that was designed for you. So your voice matters, and so does everyone else's. And we have to set our voice free. And think about the times where you've been laughed at for having an opinion, you've been mocked or ganged up on, or told to be quiet, whatever it is. But like, you have a voice now with your spiritual connection. Like, what is it that you're scared of? Speak up. What is it you don't agree with? What is it about the teachings that you just think, hang on a minute, that doesn't really add up? What is it you want to question? You know, you can question me. I'm welcoming you questions. Question what it is. It's not necessarily that you're being negative about it or down about it. You want to understand. You want your voice heard. And your questions, your thoughts, your opinions, they matter. They massively matter. So we need to set that free. People over a certain age as well. I've noticed this in the shops, and I have to say it does shock me. But my mum was telling me that over the age of 60, you kind of get ignored in the shops. People like tend to just walk past you. And I was like, I think you're being a bit dramatic, Mum. You know, like, people don't do that. Your opinion matters more than anyone's, you know, and surely they go above and beyond for you because you're older. I mean, 60 is not an age, is it? But she said, no, I've noticed it, and it's getting worse as I'm getting older. Anyway, I've been out and about with her, and she's completely right. They walk past her, they don't come and speak to her, they don't try and necessarily help. And if she's struggling, they go, oh, do you want a bit out? Like she's unable to hear them or something. But they kind of just don't, it's like her voice doesn't matter. And she said to me, it's like my voice doesn't matter. It's like my opinion doesn't matter, or I might not need something because I'm over a certain age. And I was like, okay. And I noticed it in shops, like when an older person would speak at the till, and then they'd just kind of, you know, not just the people who work in the shops, but people around would kind of listen to the younger person, or listen to somebody who's maybe got a louder voice, rather than the person there that might be frail or a bit older. And I was like, oh my God, people do actually do that. And that's shocking. So now I always make a conscious effort to speak to the older person, or if the older person's speaking, I listen and ignore the person who's being louder, because their voice matters. You know, their custom matters. That why would they not want to enjoy something just because they're over a certain age? So we have to allow our voices to be heard, and you have to express your voice. It's really important, and the world needs to hear what you've got to say. You're all unique. Your gift is unique. You know, I know you're probably trying to figure out what box you currently fit in with your gift and how it's flowing through, but you're all unique. You've all got a different spirit guide. You've all got a different fingerprint. You're all beautifully unique. So you've got a way here of having your thoughts, your feelings, and everything is so important and needs to be heard and validated and shared if it feels the right thing for you to do. So your voice matters. Sorry if I've gone on a bit there, but I kind of wanted to get that point across. Your voice matters. If you had any highlighted areas around your joints, did anyone get joints? This is a sign that you're holding yourself back from moving forward. So again, why are you standing still? Why do you feel safe standing still? Why are you not going for things? Why are you not moving forward? Why are you not going towards whatever it is that you're feeling pulled to do? What's the fear there? So these areas now can help you really sit and think, and I can feel all your togs, all your clogs going. I can feel it all. So you've got to make sure that you understand what it is at the forefront of your mind now. Like I said, your onions, there's layers, there's more going to come forward. But what's at the forefront that you know now? And start to now list all those things out. All the things that could possibly cause these blocks that have been highlighted in your areas. Get them all listed out. This is gold what I'm going to teach you. Not only will it help you in spirituality, but it will help you in your everyday life, which is so normal. It's so normal. Self-love, spending more time with you, reassuring yourself, Helen was heart. So putting yourself first and allowing yourself to be loved and loving you. So not the love from outside of you, you loving you. So once you've written down all the list of everything that's come through, I want you to now look at these things and try and reframe how you think towards them. So let me explain that a little bit more. So when you're an overthinker and it's your head that's blocked, and you've got a list of the reasons why, a list of proof as to why you have to be an overthinker because of all the times that things have gone wrong when you haven't, just stop for a moment and look and go, I choose to change this. I'm going to relax my energy towards overthinking as much as I can. Spirit guides, can you support me with this? I know that this has tried to keep me safe. My human body is trying to keep me safe by making sure I think of every eventuality. But really, it's just causing me more distress. So I'm going to trust that I'm always guided in every moment. I'm going to trust that there's nothing I can't recover from. There's nothing I can't move forward and get support on in that moment. I trust that I have the strength within me to deal and handle with anything, and that it's sent to me for a divine purpose. Can you see then how you're disempowering the need to overthink everything? You're taking it away from you. If you are your stomach, back or heart, so the emotions, again, let's start to really think about all those emotions that are stored within you and how can you start letting them go. Forgiveness might be too soon if outside parties have played an impact on this, but what you can do is say, I understand that this has been sent to me. This was a human experience. I don't agree with it. I don't agree that I had to go through this, but I trust that I'll be shown the real reason why it occurred. And I trust that it may have happened to me and I may not have had control over these things, but I do have the control to release it and let it go. And I do have the control to make sure other people's opinions don't infiltrate what I think of me. Let it go. And trust that over time it will go. So that's the middle part. With the heart, this is where you have to say, I've been too hard on myself. I'm going to spend time looking at every aspect of my personality, my health, my well-being, my looks, where I am in life, my loves, and I'm going to make sure that I love myself. Where am I not putting myself first? I'm going to schedule some time to do what I want to do and enjoy that time and really feel into that. With your throat and your voice, like speak your truth. I'm going to try and understand that not speaking my truth is not serving me. Excuse me. And other people's opinions, it doesn't affect me. I'm not going to allow it to affect me. So letting all that just come through and just allowing yourself to slowly start to practice small steps with speaking your truth. You don't have to start changing tomorrow and getting on a soapbox in the middle of your local town and start going, I'm speaking my truth. You don't need to do anything as drastic as that, but you can just start to make the small steps. So, and if it's your joints and you're feeling all achy around moving forward, it's like, well, standing still, how is that serving me? It's not serving me. I'm not safe here. I'm meant to keep moving forward. That's what us humans are meant to do. So I'm not going to keep standing still. I'm going to take those steps. Okay? So there's a little bit of work to do here. Is everyone okay with that? Helen, darling, you'll have to re-watch it. If you've watched yesterday's, then watch this when you can, and it will all make sense. Let me just have a drink because my voice is going. You all understanding this? Yeah? Let me know. I hope you are. Yeah, give me some loves. So you've got a bit of work to do, guys. If you're watching on replay, let me know you've tuned in. Yeah, perfect. Oh, amazing. All your comments coming through now. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Just so you all know, I am working on something behind the scenes to bring forward to you all. And my psychic school will be opening soon. So the doors will be opening to the psychic school, which is lifetime access. And you also get to see me twice a week in class and live Q&As. And we go deep into spiritual connection, the practicalities, the actual connection itself, linking you in with your guides in depth. We'll go through all of that, and the doors will be open to psychic school very soon. If you are interested in that, you are going to really want to really get into that school as soon as possible. It's lifetime access. You only pay once and you get to repeat the school as many times as you want. And oh, excuse me, you get all the updates and all the upgrades that I have. And yeah, it's going to be amazing for you. You'll love it. Can I just ask, things have gone quiet since opening up? Yeah, they will do, because Spirit know that you're taking the time to do the work here, the inner work, to really connect at the highest level, so you do this safely and so that you connect to pure light rather than any of the lower vibrations. So they give you the space to do that, so it's completely normal. I did not see yesterday's live. Could you send them to me, please? They're all at the top of the group, so any lives that you've not caught, just literally scroll to the top of this group and you'll see them all in the featured posts. They're all in a row and they're all numbered, so you can just watch them on there. There we go. Thank you so much, everyone. If you know anyone that would love this group and would benefit from listening to this, please feel free to add them in and invite them to the group. Only if they're interested in spiritual development and spirituality. Otherwise, it'd just be a waste of their time. Okay, right. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, day, wherever you are in the world. And I'm sending you all so much love. Mwah. Bye.